All right, everyone, I hope you had a really fun day today. To recap a little bit, we had some really interesting discussions here in the Data Octagon, starting with Data IQ, where we got to see and get answers to some of the questions that we started off the day with, which regard how do we want to do master AI management, as I called it this morning. But really, what we saw exemplified was the idea that you need to be structured in the way you set up your experiments. And a pretty neat thing that we saw exemplified there was the idea that you have people that can program sophisticated services, AI solutions, data processing solutions, and then you have the no-code way of doing things. And the reality is that both of these are going to exist. But the fact of the matter is that when you want to enable people that do coding to also do it in a structured way, in the same way that you would normally get for free when you do a no-code approach, you need a platform that supports both. So you need a platform that allows your developers to be structured in the way they submit data, in the way they submit experiments, in the way they track the lineage of the data, track the lineage of their models. And if you can only provide it for one of them, for the coders or for the no-coders, then you're definitely going to be falling behind on what is state of the art today. You want to have a platform that can cater to both coders and no coders and still fulfill the governance objectives that your organization has set for itself. In the panel after that, in the scaling AI panel across the organization, we heard that it's still a matter of being sophisticated when it comes to the potential of AI. There is an education that needs to be happening, and I think for the past few years we've been telling ourselves that really what you need to do is take one simple course on what is AI, and that should be sufficient. But it turns out that the onus now is turning around to where it's more reasonable to expect the enthusiasts and the internal evangelists and the AI experts to become more business savvy. And so we heard that there's a calling for people that are AI experts to perhaps learn more about what it is that actually drives the business. And perhaps what that'll entail is that people will meet halfway. We'll see the incumbent decision makers become a little bit more AI savvy, but I think also the AI people will very rapidly become more business savvy and perhaps be the decision makers of the future in the coming 5 to 10 years. The second thing is that there is no top-down or bottom-up approach. What we see in practice happen in organizations is that a culture changes and you have both executive buy-in and grassroots experimentation happening in the companies. So it's not a matter of which of those two approaches to take and whether you should have one center of excellence or whether you should have a spoke and wheel approach or whether it should all be distributed. There seems to be something more that's driving successful implementations that has to do with business culture. And for our last session with Pyramid Analytics, we saw another example of AI-driven self-service. And I think what we can take away from that is that a lot of these AI models that can offer insights will empower what we earlier probably referred to as simply enthusiasts. People that used to take their own time to develop an Excel sheet just because they wanted to get, grip of data that wasn't necessarily provided to them before. But now all of a sudden, you can do it again in a structured way with data governance and all that kind of thing, and really enable these poor enthusiasts that used to work on their own to become citizen data scientists and have support from the organization, from IT tools, that are part of the governance strategy. So all that from these sessions today. I hope you learned as much from yesterday and today as I did. We are already opening applications for Data Innovation Summit 2022, which is in May next year. I am super excited about it, and if you had fun this year like I had, make sure to book your spot there. Thank you for joining us this year, and I will be seeing you soon.